Hello and welcome to another art vlog. I am so happy that you're here again. I know that in my last video I did say that I was going to be making a lot more of these very soon, and just from the beginning I just want to let you know that this footage is in fact from a year ago. So you might recognise the pieces that I'm working on in this footage. I begin with a piece all focused on a hare with a lilac moon, and then towards the end of the video I start work on a very elaborate landscape painting of a spoonbill and a beaver. So here I begin sketching out my composition of a hare surrounded by lots of different natural elements. There are swallowtail caterpillars, different mushrooms, some little bugs crawling up the hare himself, and I'm going to paint a moon in the background as well, and a border, which I love to do. I feel like it really pulls the whole imagery together. So let's take a little dive into what paint I like to use. Firstly, the pan that I use is refillable, and I bought it completely empty off Amazon, I do believe, quite some time ago. I have filled this palette with my absolute favourite brands of paint, and I would love to do a full video really exploring what these are. But just for starters, some of my favourite brands include Daniel Smith watercolours, Winsor & Newton and Schmincke. Here you can see me using a touch of gouache to make the orange dots in the caterpillar. I like to occasionally use gouache in my paintings as it allows you to go over darker areas with lighter paint, which isn't typical if you only use watercolour. This piece was a ton of fun to create, and I loved coming up with the composition, which has lots of different elements coming into play and hidden details. For the border and the lilac moon, I am using acrylic gouache. And here's the finished piece. I took it outside to see the colour in true light and took it for a little spin. Mushrooms and bugs have become a bit iconic in my work. So even though that this piece was painted a year ago now, these themes still crop up again and again in my work. So here are a few clips from summer. It was such a good time for exploring new places and getting out into nature and really getting inspired. During August, over the Celtic season of Lunasa, me and a few friends went on a wild camping retreat, which incorporated yoga, music, crafts, wild swimming, and it was just such a perfect time for getting inspired and reconnecting to ourselves and with our Celtic ancestors as well. It was such an enlightening trip. So here are a few memories and snippets from that wonderful camping trip. So here I am starting the second major piece of last summer. Oh, you can even see sweet Kylie in the background if you look closely. My grey and white cat. She is my baby. So I really wanted to try something new in this piece and practice painting landscapes and backgrounds, which usually I shy away from. Typically, I would use the botanical illustration approach of really focusing in with a high level of detail on a specimen, but keeping the background completely white. So in this piece, I have challenged myself as I am showing both the perspective of an animal who is underwater and of a bird who is up above on the land. I first began the background using watercolour, but I accidentally made quite a muddy colour. Like, looking back, it's funny to see because I'm so used to the finished piece and how it ended up looking like. But yes, I'm glad that I went over the background using gouache again, because I'd laid down quite a dark orange to begin with. Here in this bit of speed painting that I'm showing you, you can see that I'm beginning to pick out the details of the lily pads and the water reeds. And sure enough, here I am mixing up the final orangey red background colour in gouache to go over that slightly muddy and not very nice orange that I'd originally mixed. So here you can see that I am working this out as I go along, really, and I decided to paint the background first. So going up nice and tight and precisely to the details which I am leaving as a negative space. I'm mixing and blending the colours as I go, and like I say, this is a new approach, a new technique that I sort of discovered in this piece of mixing gouache and watercolour together. The blue is a nice Daniel Smith's underwater green colour, I think it's called. I can't quite remember. Oh wait, it's come back to me. It's called Cascade Green, and it has a really beautiful pigment to it and a granulation. There's some nice limey sort of greens in there, which contrasts against the teal. And yeah, so I'm sort of going between the watercolour fluidity and then adding in a bit more of the opaque and pastel orange that I've mixed. Isn't it just so satisfying taking off the masking tape, or washi tape in this case, getting those super precise lines? Here I am working with negative space once more and drawing out little circles and then filling out the background around them to create little water bubbles. Again, I am using the gouache to create some highlights in the water, creating some little ripples, and yeah, I'm just going right up tight to the bits that I want to fill in later, using them as negative space for now. I like to go between really tiny sized watercolour brushes. I was actually gifted this set from Pan Art. Well, not all of the brushes I'm using in this video, but some of them are from the lovely guys at Pan Art who gave me a set of their brushes. I particularly like their larger sized brush. Usually the biggest size I go for is a size 5, which in the grand scheme of things and compared to some other artists probably isn't very big at all, but for me, I like my details, and yeah, I guess I like to have quite a lot of control over the paint, and I find that smaller size brushes really allowed me to get those small details. Here are some other things that I got up to art-wise in the summer months of last year. You can see me in my old studio actually. I have since moved rooms, just in the same house, but I have got a much larger room now for my studio. But I do miss how I had this little room set up with my gallery wall just behind the desk. I'm also packing my orders in a slightly different way to how I do them now, but you can see me with my mushroom print, and I'm using glassine paper as a protective film. Glassine paper is a wonderful material for protecting art prints and even original artworks. It is archival and it is also completely recyclable, which is why I wanted to get on board and start using it. Here is another mushroom print of mine. It was actually the first one that I created, so it holds a special place in my heart, this piece. Yeah, this was a very mushroom related order that somebody chose. I like to put my logo on the lids of my packing tubes. These days I tend to post my artwork flat though. Only if I'm sending it super long distance will I put it in a tube, just because I can imagine that it will go through more bumps and different trials when it's going more long distance, so I like to use tubes sometimes. Here are a selection of my vinyl stickers that I sell. I have lots more now though, as you can imagine, as this was filmed quite a long time ago. And I like to put in little thank you notes in with all of my orders as well. All of these prints, by the way, are still up on my shop. So if you head on over to my website, which is on my channel in the notes, I think, yeah, you'll be able to see all of these prints and more, as I've done quite a lot of work in the past year up on there, so feel free to do that if you want. So I also put my stickers in tiny glassine bags, and like I said before, they are completely recyclable, and I really do try to keep my packaging as sustainable as possible. I keep my packaging plastic free, and when I need to use those plastic covers, like those little clear sheets that you slip prints inside, I use biodegradable film, and it is wonderful stuff. So if you also sell art prints or take part in markets and sell your artwork, look up biodegradable film. It is wonderful stuff and so much better for the planet. So yeah. Wouldn't be a video of mine without showing my lovely deer cat Kylie. She is nearly 19 years old and she is just the absolute best. She always keeps me company. And here she is helping me count some stickers. And now, enough of me on this voiceover. I hope you've enjoyed some little tips and hearing from me. But I'm gonna go now and just let you enjoy watching me finish off the spoonbill and beaver painting. I'll be back at the end for a little outro. So you can see me adding in the white spaces that I had previously left blank, and this one is taking the form of a beaver. So I'm starting off with really light washes, just all in one colour pretty much, and then laying down different spiky textures for the fur. And I love just building these up gradually, adding darker tones as I go. So you can see this beginning to take shape, and yeah, this was the final part of the painting. The beaver was the last element to do. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed painting this with me. It was really fun to document, and like I say, this piece was completed a year ago, and I do have a lot of footage of other pieces that I have worked on, and yeah, I just wanted to get this one out there, and hopefully it will kickstart me into producing more videos for you guys. I really do enjoy them. Yeah, and I hope you guys enjoyed watching it. Please do let me know your thoughts down below, any future video ideas or any questions that you have for me. Yeah, I really want to share more with you about my process and holding myself accountable as well with the work that I do. It's really nice to watch back on how my painting style has changed even over the past year. So yeah, I just hope that you enjoyed this as much as I enjoyed making it, and I will definitely see you soon. Bye!